Hey guys, in this Avius tutorial, hopefully I can get to the point a little bit quicker on this one. I want to talk about all the different restrictions and things that are different and weird about the server. I realize I kind of skimmed over this a little bit in the beginning, so I might be putting this in a little bit earlier than I've recorded this into the actual playlist itself. But I want to talk about all the different restrictions and all the things on this server that are not typical to your typical Minecraft server or Minecraft world. For instance, the very first thing that a lot of people comment on is nether portals. You cannot build your own nether portal, okay? You're only able to use the nether portals that are funded by towns. Towns or fiefdoms can build a portal in the town in a church. It's an actual building that they build in the town and open to the public. Now, the towns have to be pretty high up, a tier 3. So, like, we only have one nether portal on the server right now, and it's in New Haven. So, the nether is a pretty restrictive place here on Avius. The other thing I want to mention is, for instance, all of the mob restrictions we have. Like, fighting mobs from spawners won't drop you mob parts. You shouldn't get experience, vanilla experience. That's still getting fixed. That's a little bit of a hole in the server now, but you're not supposed to be getting experience from mob spawners. Killing mobs from spawners won't give you MMO experience. Mobs like Endermen won't take fall damage, so it's very hard to make mob traps. Let's see, what else? Mobs, unless you are the one, unless an actual player kills the mobs, they won't drop mob parts. And I think that's it for mobs. So that's like super restricted as far as if you want to get swords and archery experience and you want to get mob parts and vanilla XP, you basically have to go out at night or in caves and fight monsters the good old-fashioned way. So it makes it a slow process, it makes it a bit harder, and it makes it more rare for mob parts and for experience. Second thing, you cannot make ender chests. We use a plugin created by Zerthic, here a moderator and co-founder of Avius. You've seen him on my channel. He created a plugin called Ender Banks. It works with economy. Basically, in order to open an ender chest, you have to pay copper pieces. So that you can kind of keep a bank, or if you want to move items between towns safely. Certain towns that are really high, like tier 4 or tier 5, can build an ender bank in their town, and if two big capital cities have ender banks, you can transport items between them really easily and safely, if you would like to do that or use that system. So if you won't be able to craft ender chests on the server, you can only use them in ender banks and open them if they're already made. So that's another thing that's restricted. The next thing that's restrictive is vanilla experience. You can only get vanilla experience from actually killing mobs. You won't get it from smelting blocks. You won't get it from mining. You won't get it from, fishing and breeding. You won't get it from anything else except for creating mobs that you normally do now in Minecraft. We didn't like how Mojang made it really easy for mobs to get, or how easy they made it for players to get vanilla experience. So we've restricted it in that vanilla experience, because you do need 30 experience to purchase a new rank. We wanted to make it pretty difficult for you to do that. So it's also fair because miners would be having way more experience than anybody else. So enchanting is now more rare, and levels in general are now more rare, so it's almost worth killing players over if you know somebody has a lot, and it just, you have to go fight monsters out if you want to get some. A couple things about farming: you can only farm netherwort in the nether. We have restricted it being grown in the overworld to make it like the good old days. And then in addition, auto farms do not work. We have put in everything we can do to make auto farms not work. This stops non-gardeners from being able to harvest crops. And then it also, just stops massive farms in general. But I don't know why you would make mob farm or automatic farms anyways, because you get MMO experience for harvesting your crops. So there's not really a point in it other than other players that aren't gardeners getting items. So we put a restriction on that as well. And then, as I've mentioned in other videos, gardeners are the only people who can breed. So a normal player won't be able to breed anything. However, every single player can tame their own wolves and cats. So you can still do that. That's not restricted to gardeners. but everybody else is not able to breed. And then, of course, you cannot make your bread. You cannot use beds because we do use the graveyard feature, and we do have an altered spawn point set in our spawn town. Okay, I think that's it for all the general restrictions. This didn't have much visuals to it, but I hope it got across a couple things that people are a little bit confused about on the server. This was kind of just a jumbled mess of a bunch of different things, but I hope that helped you understand a couple things that are different on the server other than, of course, the whole idea of MCMO. Just some things that are in the background different that you don't see much up front or much information about because they're kind of small little things, but can become big things at certain times in the gameplay. Next up, to finish up the general aspect of these couple middle playlist episodes, we're going to be talking about meta textures.